Welcome to the Career Readiness Database, or CRD training for Kentucky's Alternate Assessment Program. The CRD houses data for both the Employability Skills Attainment Record, or ESAR, and the Career Work Experience Certificate, or CWEC. The agenda for today's training is to provide an overview of the CRD to include access and login information. This training is broken down into two sections. The first for teachers, where we will discuss teacher access and use features of the teacher tools, the Employability Skills Attainment Record, or ESAR, rating scale interface, and the Career Work Experience Certificate, or CWEC, coursework certification. The second part will focus on District Assessment Coordinator, or DAC, access and use to include the DAC tools, student registration, and teacher rosters. There are two components in the Kentucky Alternate Assessment Program, or CAPS, post-secondary career readiness, the ESAR and the CWEC. Once users are enrolled in the OTS and the CRD has been opened for data entry, users may click the link on this slide to access the CRD, or click the CRD link under Systems. The user login credentials are synced between the OTS and the CRD. The teacher or qualified ESAR administrators, or QEA, information is transferred from the OTS to the CRD. The same username and password is used to access both systems. Remember, the same username and password is used to access both the OTS and the CRD. Enter the user email and password and then click Login. Under the Login button, there are links to the CRD user guide, Forgot Password, and New Teacher Registration links. Users must be registered in the CAP OTS to be granted access to the CRD. If users click on the New Teacher Registration link, it will take users to the registration page of the OTS. Users will complete the information on the registration page and click the Register link. This creates a user profile in the OTS, which is transferred to the CRD. In order to gain access to the CRD, users must first be registered in the OTS. If users are having difficulty registering for the OTS, please contact Daryl Mattingly via email at darrell@uky.uky.edu. That's daryl.mattingly@uky.edu. Before teachers will be able to log into the CRD, they must first successfully complete the ESAR and CWEC quizzes. Teachers who pass the ESAR quiz are qualified ESAR administrators, or QEAs, and those who pass the CWEC quiz are qualified CWEC administrators, or QCAs, and will be automatically activated to enter data in the CRD upon successful completion. After logging into the CRD, users are taken to the Welcome page. Along the left side of the screen on the Welcome page, users will note navigation links labeled Home, Student Roster, CRD User Guide, and Printable ESAR. Clicking any link in the tool menu will take the user to the interface named in the link. The Welcome page is also the home page. The Logout link remains in the top right corner of each page. If a user clicks the Log Out link, a system alert asks if they want to log out. To log out, click Log Out or Cancel to cancel the request. The resources links, CWEC Administration Guide, ESAR Administration Guide, and the District CWEC Checklist are links that take the user to the Kentucky Department of Education, or KDE, website and the resources for the post-secondary career readiness components. For specific information about the CWEC and ESAR, users should activate these links. Only teachers who have passed the required quizzes and are QEAs and QCAs will have access to student rosters. Student rosters are based on the students enrolled at grade 12 or earlier when meeting criteria at the teacher's school. On the student roster page, QEAs will have access to their students' information. For each student, the following information is available: the Student's Career Readiness Database Identifier, or CRDID, a unique identifier generated in the CRD, their State Student Identifier, or SSID number, their demographic information, such as name, grade, or gender, and links to both their ESAR rating interface and their CWEC verification page. CRD User Guide and Printable ESAR. The last two links under Teacher Tools are the CRD User Guide. Click this link to download a PDF copy of the CRD User Guide, and Printable ESAR. Click this link to download a PDF copy of the ESAR to administer the ESAR rating scale. On the student roster page, the teacher's list of students is presented. If any students expected to be on this list are missing, teachers should contact their DAC to have the students manually added. As described above, the student's information is listed in the student roster with both the ESAR and CWEC links at the end of the student line. You must locate the student in the list to access data entry for that specific student. The links are color-coded. Gray indicates the student is not required to complete the component. Red means the component is not started. Orange means the component has been started but is incomplete, and green indicates that the component is complete. Click on the ESAR link to access the first page of the ESAR skills, which is personal qualities and people skills. There are 3 categories in the ESAR, and each domain is listed across the top of the interface or screen. For every question, there are radio buttons for response options of 0, 1, or 2. Users may click the links, save, or save and submit located in the bottom left-hand corner of the page for the data entered on each page. Note, it is possible to navigate from one page or category to another at any point in time. Using the category titles across the top of the page, users may navigate between pages. Users may complete the data process in any order they choose. Save will retain the data but does not finalize it in the system. Responses that users have selected on a page, such as personal qualities and people skills, will be saved in the CRD but not submitted. Users can navigate to other pages using the linked category title or the blue link at the top of the score entry field. Users will receive an alert indicating that scores have been saved but not submitted. Click OK to save the data. Note, if data has been saved but not submitted, users may continue to add data. Data is not submitted to KDE until it is saved and submitted. If users select Save and Submit, responses entered on a page, such as personal qualities and people skills, will be saved in the CRD permanently and submitted to KDE. Any item that does not have a selection or no response selected will default to 0. Users will get an alert indicating that if the Save and Submit button is selected, the data will be permanently entered and submitted to KDE. Click Yes, Save and Submit the responses to submit the data, and No, Cancel Submission to cancel the data. Once data is submitted, the system will take the user to the next ESAR category, such as Functional Academic Skills, until all 3 categories have been saved and submitted. Until all 3 categories have been saved and submitted, the ESAR link will appear orange. Once all 3 categories have been submitted, the link will appear green. Once a record is complete, meaning all 30 responses have been entered, and the link is green, the record is no longer accessible via the student roster link. System alert messaging will provide support contact information. Click the Return to Student Roster link to exit the alert. Career Work Experience Certification. The CWEC link is read when the student has not been certified. The user can access the certification by clicking on the red link. There are now 5 fields a user must include in the CWEC certification screen. First, has the student completed the CWEC and Work-Based Learning or WBL requirements? This is a yes or no question. Then, the certification requires the number of WBL hours that have been completed and what type of hours, face-to-face, virtual, or a combination of both, have been completed. Then, the user must identify the number of hours for each face-to-face and virtual CWEC hours. To submit the data, click Save and Submit in the bottom left-hand corner of the screen. As with the ESAR, once the CWEC certification is entered, saved, and submitted, the responses cannot be edited. Users will receive a prompt to either cancel the submission or to save and submit the responses. Select No, Cancel Submission to edit responses. Click Yes, save and submit the responses to permanently submit data to KDE. Again, as with the ESAR, incomplete records or records that have not been saved will have a CWEC link that appears orange. Once the responses are entered, saved, and submitted, the link will appear green. DACs registered in the OTS will automatically have access to the CRD. DACs will have access to everything described in the teacher section, and all interfaces will work in the same fashion. Along the left side of the screen on the welcome screen, DAC users will note DAC tools with navigation links labeled Home, Student Roster, Student Registration, Teacher Roster, CRD User Guide, and Printable ESAR. As with the teacher tools, clicking any link in the tool menu will take the user to the interface named in the link. The welcome page is also the home page. The resources links, CWEC Administration Guide, ESAR Administration Guide, and the District CWEC Checklist are links that take the user to the Kentucky Department of Education, or KDE's, website and the resources for the post-secondary career readiness components. For specific information about the CWEC and ESAR, users should activate these links. DACs will have access to teacher rosters for all schools in their districts. Student rosters are based on the students enrolled at grade 12 or earlier when meeting criteria at the schools in the district. DACs may add students to the CRD. Please ensure all fields are completed. Per the ESAR administration guidelines, grade 11 students may be added early to the CRD if they have completed the first 2 courses leading to the CWEC and are on schedule to complete the remaining 2 courses before graduation. In order for any student to be added to the CRD, they must be pursuing career readiness. All the district's teachers who have students participating in the post-secondary career readiness component of the CAP will appear in the teacher roster. If the teacher has passed the required quizzes prior to the CRD opening, then teachers will be automatically activated in the CRD. DACs can no longer activate teachers, and therefore their activate link is grayed out or unavailable. There is also a delete link that the DAC can use to delete any teachers who should not be listed in the CRD. This includes teachers who have moved out of district or retired, as well as teachers who do not have students identified as pursuing the career readiness component. If DACs do not wish for teachers to enter data, they must communicate this to the teacher directly. If users have specific questions about the ESAR administration or CWEC verification, they should contact Sherry Craig, a systems consultant in the KDE's Office of Career and Technical Education, via email at sherraig@education.ky.gov. That's sherry.craig@education.ky.gov. CRD system support questions should be directed to Daryl Mattingly, a computer specialist at the University of Kentucky and system administrator, via email at darrell@uky.edu. That's daryl.mattingly@uky.edu.